Chicago native, Mr. T.
All right, Cubs fans. All right, Chicago.
Great to be here at Wrigley Stadium.
Yeah, let's get some runs. Come on, don't mess around. Let's get some runs, guys.
Cubs fan or not a Cubs fan?
My first two questions are what I would consider crosstown series questions. Number one, you own an Ozzy Mows My Lawn t-shirt. Cubs fan or not a Cubs fan?
Well, I would say that is a Sox fan. That is not a Cubs fan. That's Ozzy himself was the last person I saw wearing one of those, which I thought was one of the most brilliant, hilarious things a manager has ever done that I will always have. It really began my immense respect for Ozzy Guillen for basically turning the tables on that ridiculously racist t-shirt sold outside of Wrigley Field. So I'm going to say not a Cubs fan, but I probably got that wrong.
That is a Cubs fan, and of course there is a history of racist shirts being sold outside of both parks. So kudos to t-shirt makers across Chicagoland. Number two, we already covered this one. I didn't realize. I thought I might be able to sneak this one in. But you have to answer it correctly. During the Crosstown series, you choose to fight in the bleachers with other Cubs fans. Cubs fan or not a Cubs fan?
I mean, those were clearly Cubs fans. I don't endorse such behavior. I can't figure out what they would be fighting over.
You think a beer was spilled? I mean, it is like $12.50 these days. I could,
I guess, but that there seems to be. Do you feel like there are more fights in general post-pandemic? I feel like we've seen a lot on the South Side. We're seeing way more in the bleachers now. Like,
yeah, there were last year. So far, the Sox games I've been to, I was 2 for 2 last year with fights in my first couple games. This year, I haven't seen any fights. The crowd's pretty amped like they were last year, but no one's fighting. But last year, I agree with you 100%. And I'm sure it's going to happen as the weather gets nicer. But like, there was fight every game I was at, and it was Sox fans on Sox fans. Yeah. It wasn't even.
I feel like this is much. It's much more aggressive post pandemic. I haven't. Yeah. I mean, I spent, basically 2006, maybe 2000. No, basically 2004 through 2019 in the bleachers at Wrigley.
Yeah, we never. I mean,
I almost never saw. I saw fights in the aughts. Like, I feel like we saw them in the middle of the 2000s.
That ship sailed as they started to play better and became a contender.
Well, they started charging $100 for a ticket out,
and the bleacher seats went up from $15 to $50 a ticket, and then whatever. So yeah.
But then now I've moved away. I haven't been in the bleachers in a couple of years. I feel like it just is. You see it a lot more suddenly, and it seems over nothing. Like what the fuck was happening?
Yeah, they're probably wasted. That's
the thing. Like, but get to the point where you're wasted, where you don't care that you've spent a bunch of money on that ticket, and you're going to be escorted out eventually by the slowest security staff in America. But I don't get it. Never understood that. Especially getting to fight in the bleachers is, maybe fighting an opposing fan. I mean, that's at least
makes a little more sense.
Fighting another Cubs fan. What the fuck are we doing? Why are we fighting people? Or as the internet meme goes, there's no fighting in the bleachers. There's no fighting in the bleachers.
Maybe it was someone yelled right field sucks and they came all the way over and were offended by that.
The classic Hatfields versus McCoys, left field versus right field.
Ugh. All right, let's continue on with this.
We digress.
Number 3. You think curses are real?
That was a Cubs fan and is no longer a Cubs fan. I don't know how to answer that. I guess you would say it's a Cubs fan.
Ding, 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 ding. All right. Next one.
Yes. The Somehow they're not real anymore. If you could actually win a World Series despite the curse of the Billy Goat,
You would think, yeah.
What does that mean now?
I think it's a new curse, the curse of the Ricketts. The biblical losses curse.
That's interesting. There is, I mean, it's like we could get, that's
It's like
interesting. I'll have to bring up like the plagues of Egypt or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's where I'm at.
Raining frogs, death of your firstborn. Cubs will never win another World Series.
It's raining Bud Lights from the sky. Number 4, you refuse to acknowledge that Harry Carey worked for both the Cardinals and White Sox before joining the Cubs organization. Cubs fan or not a Cubs fan?
That's just a moron. I mean, know your history. I can't believe that's a Cubs fan, but I guess you're going to say it is a Cubs fan.
It is a Cubs fan. It's not that they don't know that he worked for them. It's they refuse to acknowledge it.
Who?
Cubs fans.
All of them?
Majority of them.
Oh my God. I'm gonna have to consult with the judges on this. I think it's ridiculous. How could they not know that?
No. I didn't say they didn't know it. I said they refuse to acknowledge it. They act as if Harry Carey is the Cubs guy.
This is where the game shows run its course. These are very technical here.
Well, no, this is where like it's just for fun, and sometimes someone takes it too seriously. Number 5.
All right, now here we go.
You have a signed headshot of Ronnie Woo Woo.
No one has that.
Ding, 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 ding. It doesn't exist. He couldn't afford it. He's homeless. All right, that's it for this week's show.
Abuse of the homeless. That's how we're gonna do it. That's how we're gonna end this reign.
A Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.